What's up, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Zone 90 pre-show. I am Ryan Jarrell, joined by Greg Williams, and our first guest, very special guest, the Shark, Nuri Shakir, back in action this coming weekend, Combat Zone 90, November the 1st, when he takes on Derek DeFreitas. Nuri, we appreciate you jumping on and doing this. First, I just want to start, just with your excitement level, how pumped you are to be back fighting for Combat Zone. Got to go all the way back to Combat Zone 59 when you last competed, so it's been a minute. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be back. Obviously, it's never been about if I was to come back. It's always about when and before my expiration date expired for the header. So it's actually really good to happen to come back. I mean, basically what happened was I basically kind of got in shape with all the fighters that I had here at the same time. They were training with them, and it kind of just all happened at once. I'm like, well, hell, let's do it. So that's kind of what happened with it.
And I like the matchup, Derek DeFreitas. What did you think of it when you first heard him as an opponent? How do you feel like his style will match up against what you bring to the table?
I mean, I do like the matchup. I think from what I've seen, he's more of a Brazilian karate stylist. He does do jiu-jitsu also, but his striking style is more karate based. I think my style matches up pretty well against him. He's hungry. He's always game. That's one thing that I have seen with him. Regardless of what he's done in the past. I think he's a good opponent. And big, the draw is going to be fun regardless. It's going to be fun. That's kind of how I always fight. I always fight in a sense to where I'm always coming to take heads or get my head taken. So either way, for me, it's going to be fun.
Larry, that's why I'm such a fan, man. I've seen you fight a couple of times. I think I was sitting next to Rampage Jackson when you fought Mike Dulce. Yeah, that was the memorable moment. Like, your fight was great, and sitting next to Rampage, I'll never forget that. There was some funny moments there that I can't repeat on their
character.
But you kind of answered the question why now, because you're getting everybody in shape and you're in shape. So you just is it that you just decided to do it? You just at a whim?
Yeah. No, it wasn't really a whim. I mean, I was planning on fighting most likely beginning of next year. That was my plan. My plan was to get in shape and kind of ease into it next year. So I get a chance to eat a little cake and everything else, and then get back in shape. But then what happened was everybody except kept competing, and I kept getting smaller. and it really came down to just the right matchups. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not 22 years old anymore. So for me, even though I do want to be fighting back those guys again. Before I get out of here, I still want to ease my way back in with guys who are around, similar age and experience that I have.
Right.
I mean, the experience part's gonna be hard, only because I fought so much, back when I was young. But that being said, though,
Yeah, and I love your fighting style.
Thank you.
I also respect you a lot as a coach. I've seen you coach. We've talked a bunch about coaching. I'm curious to think you've been around for so long, not only fighting but coaching a real long time too.
Yeah.
What differences do you see in coaching from back then when you started coaching to now? Like, what's one of those biggest differences that you see? Whether it be either what have you learned in your coaching style, or what has changed in the people that come to you wanting to learn?
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
In a sense to where, I mean, back when I started coaching a long time ago, I was basically looking to train people to be my train partners. So I can keep fighting. That's basically, because back in that time period, it was no ranking. It was all you train for 6 months to a year, and I can get you to beat emails black belt, in so much time. It wasn't my marketing, but that was marketing of MMA at the time period. Now I've got guys who come into the gym who've never even seen a UFC fight, which to me was like, you come to my gym, never seen a UFC fight ever, but at the same time, and this they're a different type of like it's funny because up until recently, the Gen X and Gen Z, Gen Ys, I don't really care about that kind of stuff, but I do see a big difference just in how they approach the game. I think they approach the game a lot smarter than per se we did back in time period. At the same time, I think some of the smartness, I think some of them, not all of them, some of them aren't as rugged I would say, as we used to be. So it's a give and take. Now, that being said, I find it easier to coach them. They listen a little more, as opposed to the people from before. So it's like a even battle. And then trying to learn how to teach everybody to where their learning style happens. Some folks need to be yelled at. Some folks need to be just like, okay, this is it. This is me doing it. You do it yourself. So it really comes down to knowing the people you're with, and causing that relationship to happen, and then go from that point on and figuring out how to make it best for them themselves. So back in the time period, it was like, it's a hammer with a square hole, and I don't care what kind of piece you had, they fit in that hole. It's not the same anymore.
That's why I love talking to you. You just answered one of the questions I was going to ask you about. That's your growing as a coach, right? Like you grow as a coach, you find out how to get the most out of the individual. I love that answer, and that's almost the exact answer I would give. So, I love that because it becomes more about like getting them to perform and what is it going to take, and finding out that each individual does it differently. I love that.
Yes.
Is your MMA program growing? Is your school getting bigger, or is it staying the same?
It's getting bigger, but my focus changed. My focus used to be fighters. That was it.
Yeah.
And you can't really grow a school with just fighters, even though I would love to. It is not built that way. So what I've done is that I've changed it around a little bit. Even though I do like fighters, obviously, I'm a fighter myself. And I do help guys come up and become fighters. The promotion more so can turn into, okay, this is what I do. This is how we do it, per se. So I teach more than just MMA. I teach jiu-jitsu, I teach kickboxing, I teach a little bit of everything. But everything we do is applicable to using it out there. And that's where I'm kind of trying to draw the line. Like, I don't want to, go too far off in the sunset and say, okay, I'm not going to, I'll teach some stuff that nobody can ever use, because then I'll probably don't want to do it ever again. But at the same time, I have to kind of figure out how to balance out better, of figuring out between the fighters. To me, well, I figured out the old method of doing it. You get a pyramid, upside down pyramid, and basically you get 100 people and you squeeze them down, and that's your person that you try and choose for. So out of those 100 folks you have 10 people that's there, and one of those folks are lifers. You know what I mean? But you can't run a school that way. You just can't. I mean, so I flip upside down, basically upside down, and then in the fighters themselves, people themselves decide what they want to do, how far they want to go with it. I back them, 100% if they want to go up higher, obviously. At the same time, I had to kind of rechange my thinking about it. Like, okay, well, if I want to have a school and a business, I have to kind of figure out how to make this work and still not, in a sense, sell myself out to other stuff. So I'm getting there. I'm taking advice from other people that are at the school too, figuring out from there. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's another great answer, and really, I totally relate to that. My last question: you've been doing this a while. How much longer are you going to do it? Do you see any? Do you see any? I mean, obviously, you're not. You're still fighting. You're not going to retire. I retired 2 years ago. I'm happy, but I'm also pretty much older, a lot older than you. But you see yourself doing this forever, or is there a time when you're going to stop sometime?
I would love to say. Yes, I would love to say that. The reality of it is, I've been fighting longer than I've been alive. I mean, like close to half my life. You know what I mean? I've been fighting since I was 18 years old. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, don't get me teary-eyed, but in generality, but retirement, because I thought about retiring. It's when I think about retiring. It kind of hits me weird. You know what I mean? I guess I have my 3-fight rule. I do have. And 3 fights to me, the 3-fight rule basically is the first one, this is me getting destroyed. If I'm just got destroyed, not beat up or, just destroyed. If I get destroyed 3 times in a row, like the first time I made a mistake, second time I learned the first time, third time I can't do it. Something's not clicking in my brain, and the sport now is going to surpass me. It's time to go. That's the one that I'm sticking to 100%. Hopefully you won't see him in a wheelchair on the side of the cage, jumping off into the cage, hopefully. But I think once I do retire from active competition, from MMA, I probably will still be teaching, obviously, and I probably get back into more of jiu-jitsu tournaments and that nature. Yeah, I find something to be in the combat sport kind of combative, because I can't sit still and do nothing.
I hear you.
But retirement's rough, man. That R word is a curse word in my book.
Well, you still look young. Well, how old are you, Nuri?
46.
Okay, you're still a young guy. I mean, you see a lot of these guys competing into their late 40s, sometimes even into their 50s. Does your body feel younger than what your age actually is?
Younger? No. No. There's not, no, no. Okay, so my fight style, I don't, even though I give a lot of damage, I don't take a lot of damage, overall. So over the years, even though I'm very like aggressive and very in your face most times, I didn't take a lot of damage, over the times that I did. So I don't feel like my body is too beat up per se, but just the normal wear and tear of basically. Actually, what's funny? What's beat me up worse than fighting has been sitting in a car driving from work back and forth. That has beat me up more than fighting has. Hip flexors don't like certain things, and go back and forth from there. But when it comes down to age, my body and my age feels me, I still feel young because I have seen some guys out there who say they're like 35. And I look at them like, you 35? You shouldn't have like 50, 55. Just the way they move and everything else. So I think as long as I can keep moving and I keep my speed, kind of the way it is, I think I'll be okay for a while. Again, go ahead.
No, no, no. I appreciate you getting into that a little bit because I was looking at your record, leading up to this interview, just doing a little bit of research on you. Man, you have fought some of the who's who in the sport, man. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
just name a few names: Jim Miller, Jorge Masvidal, Thiago Alves. You beat my old coach, Marcus Davis. Out of all of these guys that you've been in there with, who was there someone that stood out to you as maybe the toughest opponent? Maybe not even in the cage, but just before you stepped in, like mentally, like intimidating, or like who kind of stands out when you get a
Ooh.
question like that?
Intimidating, no. But I will say, guy from Canada. He actually made me go back and retrain. Because never doubt he actually broke my jaw. It was the guy I fought right after I fought Masvidal, of Canada. I can see his face. He was tall, lanky Canadian guy. He actually went to the UFC after that fight, and he ended up coming out of the UFC with a CTE, but not from the UFC, just over the time. He also fought GSP on his first fight.
Wow.
I would say him. I can see his face. I can see the whole. I can see the whole scenario, the whole thing. Um, he wasn't scary. I don't find anybody really scary. But he made me. He's the only person I ever felt when I got in the cage where I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was in the cage, on the ring at the time, in the ring, and I was punching in the air, and it was just like going nowhere. I'm like, I don't know what this is right now. I feel like I'm the Matrix, but I'm the other person in the Matrix. I'm the one shooting, and he's the one dodging everything. And I'm like, so I even tried to pull him down into my guard, which I'm not known for being a ground guy. He didn't want any part of it. He came up and he broke my jaw. And I'm like, I've never felt this way in my life, so I had to go back and basically be humbled. Everybody needs that eventually. But he basically came back and he basically tore me apart, like destroyed me. It's funny because now what remind me of, I remember when Shot Evans got knocked out in a fight after the fight, after my fight happened. And he was punching the air, and it looked like I felt in that fight. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get knocked out. Oh, he's gonna get knocked out, then out. I'm like, okay, I was right. It's just a certain feeling. But after that, I mean, I've always tried to hunt the toughest guys out. That was always my thing. So me being necessarily nervous or scared about it, I wasn't really never scared about it. Of the fighters themselves. When I first started fighting, I was nervous. I was nervous wreck when I first started fighting. Like my first 5 fights, I was so damn nervous. I was out there shaking and everything else. But after I got those out of my system and I realized everybody's scared of everybody else, and we're all human, I'm like, here we go. Marcus was a good one. He was a tough bastard. It's funny, that fight was actually funny to me, because in my mind, if he would have done one thing differently in the first round, the record would have been different. He hit me with a jab hook combination so fast, I didn't even see it happen. I was seeing 5 of them, and it hit me, and he actually backed off. I couldn't see him. Like I was seeing like 5 of the guy. My face was frowned up because I was trying to find out where he was. If you'd have kept going, I'd have been out. I'd have been out. But because he gave me that second, of recovery, I'm like, man. So, that I hit him at that point, go that point on. And I was doing that fight too in the second round. I'm like, this man hits he punched so hard. I'm in my guard and I'm pulling back from my guard. And I'm talking trash to him, trying to get him to keep punching more faster at me so he gets tired. But he kept swinging at my face. And in my mind, he was missing the shots. And I can't, like, he's punching, missing shots. I'm still dizzy. Like, why am I so dizzy? He's punching at me. I'm not sure what's going on. I kept talking trash to him anyway. I'm like, no, I don't care. Get him to stop going. But again, then I saw the fight. I'm like, no, he didn't miss any shot. He hit all the shots. So Marcus was a good fight, but was a fun fight. It was one of those fights that I knew the game plan going in was to take him down this middle. That was the game plan. There was never to outstrike him. Even though I was known the striker around here, I've been grappling longer than I've been striking. You know what I mean? So it was like most folks don't know that. So it's like, okay, my game plan was I'm not going to try to outbox a boxer. Not what you make those on. That's just stupid.
Yeah, smart game plan for sure. But it just goes to show the high level competition that you've been in there with and beat. And I think that's just one of the reasons why people are so excited to see you back fighting for Combat Zone. So to transition back to the fight here and just fight night, what do you expect as far as like fan support, people in the arena come fight night? What kind of energy are you going to feel when you make the walk to the cage?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. The reason why I say that is I don't know. I've been going so long. Even when I was kind of leaving, like last time, I didn't feel like people even knew who I was anymore. You know what I mean? In a sense, it doesn't really bother me. I'm okay with that. That being said, some of the fanfare of people actually wanting me back on the card was actually kind of like surprisingly happy. Like, oh, you want me back on the card? Cool. My thing is I just want to make sure that everybody doesn't forget me after this fight, regardless. So the fans and everything else, even though I do fight, I like the fans enjoying my fight. A fight for me. I do like fight fans enjoying the fight. It's always a big thing for me. But at the same time, I'm out there just to do what I do, and hopefully I can bring back some old retro type of fights from that point on. That's my goal.
So give us a prediction here, how you see this fight ending. You already talked a little bit about Derek and his style. Like, do you think this fight is going long? You getting an early night? Like, ultimately, how do you see the fight finishing?
I don't know. I see the fight finishing with me on top. One with the other. I don't want to say a prediction exactly of how. Only because the fight's so fluid and dynamic, and I know he's training as hard as I am. I know he's seen things from my fights, but the only problem is that being in front of me is much different than actually watching the film. You can see how fast or how slow I am in front, on the film and everything else, but you really don't get that glimpse of everything until I crack you. Once I crack you or anything else happens, everything changes at that point on. Once I get my hands on somebody, it just changes. And vice versa. I expect this fight to be a fun fight. I mean, either going to be out in the first round, or it was going to be a real bloody fight. Either way, I'm ready to go. Let's do it tomorrow.
Can't wait, man. November 1st, right around the corner. Nuri Shakir back in action, taking on Derek DeFreitas. We appreciate you jumping on and doing this, my man. Great having you on the show for the first time. If you do come back and fight for Combat Zone again, you got to come back and join us again. Before we do sign off here with you, I want to give you the floor, though. If you got like any sponsors or just anyone in general you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Well, I want to thank my team, the guys who train with me and everything else, and watch out for our fighters coming up. We have a few fighters coming out, still coming out. So just watch out for us. Gates Mixed Martial Arts.
Hello, everybody. What's
going
going on?
How are you?
Just finishing up at the shop. We got Rob in the background cutting hair.
We appreciate you jumping on and doing this.
Say that again.
How old is he?
Oh, Rob? Rob is 75 years old. Say hi, everybody, Rob.
Hey there, you guys. How are you?
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Good. Glad to be here.
Nice.
Rob's been holding it down since 1964.
Wow. So how far away are you from the venue? How close is your shop?
From the venue, our shop's probably about 25 minutes, not too far. So If anyone's listening, if anyone needs a haircut before the fight, before the big day, come on down. We're doing them all day, every day, except for no, every day. Yeah, 7 days a week now. Liam, he's fought, I think, at Combat Zone before. Liam McNeil, he's working Sundays and Mondays. So come on down, baby.
Nice. How
Nice.
about
Well,
me?
Oh, dude, come on down whenever you want. You got VIP privileges. First
Oh,
thing in the morning, first thing at night, whatever you want.
it,
Midnight Express.
he
love it,
won't
man.
take a whole lot of time, Connor, unless you're trimming the beard, though.
Oh, you should see me, dude. I'll get a
Oh
straight
yeah.
razor on that thing faster than you can blink.
Oh yeah, man. He hooked me up last fight too, man. Or the last time he fought, man. He tightened me up real good.
All
It's
right.
great.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on and doing this. Let's just dive right in. We got you, you hearing us good. So let's talk a little bit. First I want to start with you being the Combat Zone kickboxing champ. Like, how does that sound? This is your first title defense. Like, how does that feel, man? To know that you're walking down there as the champion.
It feels real good. I feel real proud. I've been talking a lot lately with some of the guys down at the gym, and not everybody knows, but a lot of people now, they're pretty aware that me and Walter, it's really been him and I against the world, him, me, and Joey Gomez since the beginning, and KTA, it's really grown. It's something real special. So to be kind of the prototype to all that, to be the guy, leading the charge with all my boys. I feel very proud. I feel very proud of that.
How would you rate your performance at Combat Zone 88, winning the title? Like, what were some of the adjustments maybe you look back and you would have made? Like, how happy are you overall with the win?
It was a good win. I definitely felt like I brought the energy. I felt like I brought, all the sauce, all the stuff. But I will say I kind of felt a little sluggish, a little slow coming out the gate. I felt, like my body wasn't really responding the way that I was hoping that it would. So, I adjusted. I made the necessary things that I needed to make it work for me. But I think going into this fight, I feel a lot looser, just a lot more myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to
man.
imagine you're probably more relaxed now too, right? You got the biggest win of your career off your back. You already got that done and behind you, so you're probably going to be just even more flowy in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I really want to dance in there, man. I just want to tango. I want everyone to just, I want jaws to be on the floor, cameras to be up. I want people to be impressed.
Connor, what keeps you? I saw you. I love your fight. I called your fight, and you didn't look that sluggish to me. You look good, but I wonder what keeps you motivated. We're KTA since the beginning. What keeps you motivated to keep fighting, to keep doing this?
Man, I think a lot about the next generation, and I think a lot about how without Walter, without Joey, without a couple of those people who really started me on my path, I wouldn't be where I am. My life wouldn't be what it is. I wouldn't be the person I am today. So, I look at all the people around me with all their ambitions, and I look at them, and I feel this fire to do it for them. I feel, I want everybody to know that you can compete 10 times in a year, and that's not too much, and that just go out there and go crazy. I'm 31, and this is, I won the belt. I did another fight. I'm doing a title defense. It's not even the end of the year. I'm thinking about doing another title fight. I just I want to fight. I want to show people that life's it's busy. Get out there and live it. You can do whatever you want. You can write your own story.
That's great. That's great motivation, man, and I love that. I love it. Um, Now let me ask you another question. What do you like better, training or performing? And I think I know the answer,
You
but
know,
maybe I'm wrong.
that's actually kind of tough. I will say because there is a certain kind of almost like a church vibe when you're going to train every day. You do your 2 hours, your 3 hours of communal service, the Lord's work. But I gotta say, I think I like performing just a little more. I there's something about going nuts and screaming and getting the crowd going that just really brings me alive.
That's cool. I love watching you live your life like out in the open and just being who you are. I think that inspires people a lot. That inspires people, and they say, "Look at this guy. He's doing it his way. You're not doing it. There's no person like you out there doing it the way you're doing it. You're unique, man. And I love that. I love that. And I love that, you take training up there as serious with that. That's what gives you the title. When you take the training, because I know how much you love performing. I thought it was a shoe-in for performing, but that training is what really gets you the title too, man. And
Yeah.
I love to watch you perform. What is your ultimate goal in combat sports? What is going to be the pinnacle, or is it just every day? Is it just the everyday, just living it? Is that enough, or is there an ultimate goal that you're reaching for?
I should probably have a better goal. My goal was my first goal was to have abs. That was like my first, and I said if I can get me some abs, poof, I'll just be happy. But now, I remember actually I was talking with Walter the other day, and we were just laughing, but I looked at him. I was 240 pounds, and I said, do you really think I could be a fighter? And he's like, hey, man, you can be whatever you want to be. And so, now I'm a fighter. Now I'm a champion. I remember the crossing the Rubicon thinking, maybe I should go pro. So I think my ultimate goal is to go pro. I would like to have, maybe a little bit of a run at that and maybe try to get a belt or two as a pro. I'm still up in the air between kickboxing and MMA. I'd like to get back into MMA, but where it's a wrestler's wet dream now to be an MMA fighter. It's I can take it or leave it. I'm happy either way, but I would definitely like to reach to the top of my aspirations as far as going pro goes. Maybe look at something. I think as far as like actual goals of mine that I have actually set, I would like to fight in another country. That's it. I think. Sorry, the air gun, cleaning them up. Um, but the end goal for me, I think, would be to fight in a foreign country. I think that would be the coolest thing to say. I got paid to go fight in another country. Fighting in the UFC, fighting in Bellator, that's cool. It's whatever. That's for somebody. But listen, I'm just a tough guy. I'm not. I'm not some crazy athlete. I'm not. I'm just a guy. So if I could say, hey, Ma, they paid me to go fight in Europe, that would be wow.
Well, that would be very cool. And you're doing your thing in the kickboxing game, man. And again, Combat Zone 90 this coming Saturday, November 1st. You're defending your 135 title against Calvin Hoon. He's 1-1 as a kickboxer. Tell me, what do you think about him, his style, and just this matchup?
To be honest, I don't really know much about him. I have this thing lately where probably for better or worse, I don't really look anything up about my opponents. I just completely listen to Walter. I just, hey, do this, do that, and do your thing. And, lately he's been telling me a lot more to just, trust myself and have fun in there. Just do what you know, because I think at this point I've shown no matter how you try to fight me, you will not get the fight that you anticipate getting. So I think as far as mashups go, I think you might be a little surprised this time. I think I'm feeling a little loosey goosey. I'm feeling a little frisky. So I think it's going to be quite a scrap.
Good. That's good, man. I was going to ask you how you see it playing out, but I think you answered that. What's your prediction? You think it's going to go the distance? You want it to go the distance? You want it to be a 5-round all-out war? Is that something you hope for?
You know me. I love a war. I
Yeah.
love I love anything that you can write home about. But I think this time I want to show people that these hands are not just pillow punchers. These are stone hands, baby. I think it's time to let people know that it's a dangerous time being in there with me, no matter how you slice it. And I see it in my mind, maybe second, maybe third round, an early finish somewhere in there. Whether it's a knee, whether it's a head kick, we'll see. I'm versatile in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. Hey, we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you coming out, Ryan. I don't know if you got any more questions, but we'll let you shout it out to your barber business. Tell us about that. Shout out, and anybody supporting you.
I would love to shout out La Legion Barbershop. You guys can see it all in here. We work every day. We crank out haircuts and shaves. We're way more than just your average barbershop. We're an experience, man. We really are. I want to shout out KTA, everybody that I train with down there. There's a whole list of them, and you just go look it up on the internet. You'll find them all. But anybody who's down with me at KTA, anybody who's at La Legion, all the people that support me at home, all my family and friends. I really couldn't do it without all of you. I really couldn't. I'm so proud. I also, I want to give a big shout out. I think it's very important. My stepdad, he passed a couple of years ago, and my grandfather just passed. They've been a real big inspiration to me the last few fights. I think about them a lot when I'm fighting. So big shout out to my stepdad, Brian, and my grandpa, Gilly.
I love it, man. That's the most important stuff in life. The fact that you put a highlight on that is really cool. And again, we appreciate you jumping on and doing this. You'll have to come back and join us. Keep fighting for Combat Zone, defend that title, and come back and see us again.
You guys are gonna keep seeing me. You're gonna be sick of me I'm gonna get so many wins. Thank you guys for having me so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Connor. Best of skill come fight night.
We'll see you next week.